Nissan or Toyota? It's one of the longest running arguments in the four-wheel drive community, and once and for all we're going to settle this debate. We've got two fantastic vehicles here, both well modified, because we know our readers don't like mucking around with stock stuff. We've got an 80 series Toyota, the last of the live axle real four-wheel drives, and a GU Patrol, once again live axle real four-wheel drive. We're going to put them to the test in some of the prettiest and some of the most rugged four-wheel drive country in Australia, the hills behind Coffs Harbour. This is going to be a terrific test, and once and for all it's going to prove this argument, one way or the other. Place your bets now, folks, because even I don't know which way it's going to go. Righto, let's have a look at the trucks. As you can see, neither of these trucks is very standard, but they've both been dictated by the terrain around here. When you look at Hodjo's Patrol, it's a 3 litre Patrol, a 2000 model. He's got bar work and sidebars all the way around for obvious reason. It's dictated by the Coffs Harbour terrain. As he said, his truck is a work of evolution. The 5-inch lift, well, you need that in Coffs Harbour for the tracks they've got around there. He's got a locker in the front, an air locker, and the limited slip up the rear. Tomo's 95 model's got quite a bit of engine work too, but same deal again. We're looking at roughly a 5.5-inch lift. We're looking at lockers both ends, air lockers both ends, and, you know, bar work all around. But he's got TJM bar work too. Now, these trucks are both a product of where these guys live. Great terrain up there, isn't it? Oh, wait until you see the rest. Well, there you go. Two terrific examples of these trucks, and perfect for what we want to do. But there's no point having a shootout like this without having great teams of four-wheel drivers involved too. So on this side, we've got Hodjo, who owns the truck and built it up, and he's a very experienced four-wheel driver, and Sando, of course, who knows every track around here like the back of his hand. Sando's going to be driving because Hodjo's got a bit of a bad back, bit of mate, honeymoon problem, was it, mate? Yeah, right, we won't go there. And representing Toyota, two more very experienced off-roaders. We've got Tomo, who built the truck up and knows it inside and out. He's a local too, so he's got that advantage. And of course, Jimbo, who is young and fit and exactly the sort of guy you want to run up and down those slopes. So this is going to be a fantastic competition and a great way to sort out the longest lasting battle in four-wheel drive history. Hey guys, come on guys, in the trucks. Let's let the trucks sort it out, eh? Oh, this is going to be good. When you spend a bit of time driving with blokes, you work them out fairly quickly, I reckon. Tomo's more the cautious type of driver. Very skillful, very experienced. Sando, on the other hand, he spent too long belting trail bikes around the bush to have much time for caution. He tends to go the harder line. Maybe that's why Hodjo put him in the driving seat, but we'll see. Oh, this is the first section, and it's steep. Trust me, it's steep, it's really steep. It's also slippery because it's been raining here recently. We got some leaves, we got some big ruts, plenty of articulation. Sando's going to bring the Patrol up first. There's no real advantage in being first or second today because we just came through and stirred it all up. Anyway, let's see how they go. You be the judge. The Patrol's running 5-inch lift. It's got Tough Dog shockies and Tough Dog springs. And the funny thing is, Hodjo tells me he's got them set pretty soft, and you can see that here. He reckons he's got them soft because he's too lazy to get out there and adjust them. But I reckon it's because of the way they work so well over this sort of terrain. Look at this, there's hardly any traction problems there at all. It just walked up. And same thing here with the Cruiser. We're looking at about a 5.5-inch lift. It's kind of interesting the way he's done this lift. He's running Tough Dog shockies, 6-inch ones, the 45mm big bores, but he's running 4-inch level springs with spacers to lift them up. And the combination, while it's different, works quite nicely. A little bit harder though, as you can see from the motion there over those bumps. Still, on the day, you're not going to find two trucks this closely modified in most places. Perfect for our comparo, I reckon. Hey, look, you can see that front locker cutting in there, can't you? Isn't that sweet? Further up the track, another beautiful little trap. This one is a lot deeper than it looks. It really is, this little mud hole. Slippery as too on the sides, and straight down if you blow it. Beautiful, just what we wanted. Let's see who pulls this one off. Here comes Sando first in the patrol, and look at that, he's taken the high ground. Now that's a brave effort when you see the way this slope drops off there to the left. You can't see it, I nearly fell down it, trust me, it's steep. Here comes Tomo, I was wondering where he was going to go, and there he goes, bang, straight into the mud. He's got an awful lot of faith in his tyres and his lockers here, because that's a very slippery little patch. But look at that, straight through. Two different approaches, two different trucks, did the job really well. Well, that's an absolute corker, that one. Plenty of signs of destruction. There's at least one dead roll cage on the side there and a few bits of dead truck on the other. Logs in the ruts. Wow, this is going to be terrific. I reckon both these trucks will do this because I've seen the guys drive, but let's just see which one does it best. Good on you. That patrol certainly is soft in the suspension, isn't it? But it doesn't matter, even with that 5-inch lift. Look at the way it twists up. It's absolutely superb, but it's not going to fall over. Partly that's because Sando drives it right to the limit. He always takes the hard line on everything. It's as if he knows to within a degree when something's going to tumble. Even this exit, he took the tough way out. Limited slip diff works all right. Here comes the cruiser, and we're taking the safer line here, and you can tell straight away that the suspension isn't moving around quite as much. Now that's just fine because it's doing the job beautifully, it really is. A lot less chance of toppling over, and with lockers both ends and the security of those tyres, look at the way it just climbs up this slope. It's doing a really good job actually, the cruiser. There's very little to tell between the two trucks at this stage in terms of what they can't cope with. You can tell Tomo loves his truck though, because if there's a slightly safer option, he'll go for it. And this time, the safer option was to aim at Watto's size 12 boot. And that's exactly what he did. Good on you, mate. Look at that. I love Coffs Harbour. Whenever you ride into the toughest tracks, all of a sudden you pop out on a hillside and there's this wonderful view all the way up the coast. Fantastic. Oh! You want some ruts? We got ruts here and I'm slipping down them. This is insane. We've got diff crunches here, we've got some rocks down there that are just fantastic, a couple of tight sections and slopes getting up to 40 degrees. If this doesn't pick these two trucks apart, nothing will. We've got steeper slopes happening here and deeper ruts. We're making it harder the further we go. But even so, the patrol is walking up here quite easily. You can see what I meant before about the evolution of these trucks to suit the terrain they've got to go through. Talking evolution, this is one of the 2000 model patrols, and as probably most of you patrol owners out there know, up until 2002 the 3-litre motor was, well, it was known for blowing up. This one lasted exactly 160,000 k's. Nissan did the right thing and put another one in. But ever since then, you can bet that Simon has been real keen about monitoring the boost pressure and the temperature. So he's got a pyro on there, just measuring the temperature at the back of the turbo, and a boost gauge to make sure it doesn't go through the roof. Hey, it works. Now there's one thing that separated the trucks on this slope. It was the fact that the patrol went through first. And you can see this almost straight away. It's a very steep slope, and I guess the MTZ tyres on the patrol helped a bit too, because by the time Tomo got up here with the claws, it was just starting to bring up a little bit of moisture through the clay, and sure enough, just when everything looked good, he stopped. That's the thing about a bit of mud, isn't it? It starts to come up and you really need momentum to get through it. But Tomo can't get momentum because there's nowhere to go. If he goes backwards down that slope too far, he'll keep on going all the way to the bottom. So he does the right thing and he gives it a few rocks, tries a few different approaches, and he uses the sides of the claws to work their way up some of those gullies. Eventually this sort of technique, if you're lucky, pulls you through. And there he goes. Did you hear that lovely turbo whistle back there? Yep, that's the noise of a Safari on a 4.2 diesel. And it's funny, you know, because Mark reckons one of the best things he's ever done was to fit the water-cooled Denko intercooler. You can't hear that, no change in note, but you can certainly see the power. I can hear a little bit of a whistle too, and I know that's because he's running one of those high-flow K&N filters. Mark's motors evolved too to suit this sort of terrain. And you know what this sort of terrain needs? Plenty of power, that's what. But here he goes again, one more time, because he's second truck in line and the moisture's come up. It's just a little bit much for the claws to handle here. Both the guys have dropped their pressure to 18 psi, so we've got similar pressures. But look, it took a second go. Well, so far so good, eh? Despite the nature of the tracks we've chosen and how tough they are, both trucks are staying up and doing really well. But here we've got a really treacherous little ridge. We're about 300 metres above sea level, but I can see the sea just there. It's not far away at all. Straight drop off on this side, straight drop off on that side, trees all over the place, very narrow, and some horrible rocky ledges. This will sort them out, it really will. I tell you what, it doesn't look too comfortable. I think I'll sit over there and watch. The cruiser drops down into the hole first. What you've got to appreciate about this little bit of track is that it's a real test of steering and wheelbase. It really is, because there's only one way you can go and there's no chance of coming back. Not unless you go all the way to the bottom, turn around and come back. Suspension's working well here on the cruiser, isn't it? There's very little body roll. Here comes the Patrol, and the first thing I noticed is how similar these trucks are. No worries about clearance issues going over that big rock, and the Patrol is running exactly the same pattern in terms of the way it ducks down this track. To me, that says that steering and wheelbase are very similar. I guess we knew that. This is interesting though, because on the way back up you can see the different ways the front suspension work on these trucks. On the cruiser, there's quite a lot of movement there, no problems at all, and it handles the rock really well, but there's less body bounce, less body roll. To me, that indicates that having it slightly harder works quite well. And here comes the Patrol. Once again, almost straight away, you can see it's a little bit softer, but look at the bounce. There's quite a bit more bounce, isn't there? That's all right, it's still doing the job. That was the surprise for me. You know, one of the things we love about coming to Coffs Harbour, it's not just the presence of all these incredible hills, it's the fact that here in Coffs and in the surrounding areas, they've got one of the most vibrant four-wheel drive communities you've ever met. If you like modified trucks, and I know you guys do, then you'll find heaps around here and heaps of people who are into them. It's just fantastic, and that's one of the reasons we keep on coming back here, I guess, that and those fantastic hills. And when it came time to answer this big Nissan versus Toyota question, we had no shortage at all of blokes who wanted to come along and give us an opinion. And I reckon that's terrific. The only problem is, of course, it turns into a huge, great number of people all here to have a feed. And guess who the cook gets to be? Yes, me. But that's all right, because it gave me a bit of an idea. First of all, we're in Woolgoogla. We're at the Sunset Caravan Park in Woolgoogla. And, you know, we've got great facilities here, so that's why we came here. And the second thing is, Woolgoogla, right? Most of the locals shorten that to Woolly, and we've got a mammoth number of people. Well, Watto came up with this great idea, why don't you cook a woolly mammoth? I tried to explain to him that they've been dead for at least, you know, 60 billion years or something, but he wouldn't hear any more. He said, no, you've got to do the woolly mammoth, the woolly mammoth. So I thought about it for a while, and I thought, now how can you do a barbecue for 20 or 30 people? And this is what I've come up with. And we're going to call it the woolly mammoth. Now, basically, it starts off with a whole heap of rump, in this case 7 big pieces, and I asked the butcher to cut it up and he trimmed all the fat off. They did that down here in Woolgoogla, and the result is fantastic. We've got some beautiful beef here, look at this, just all nicely cut into shreds, which is how you want it when you're going to feed a lot of people. I've done a lot of the preparation work already, mostly because the crew was off at the pub having a couple of beers, and I've come up with capsicum, red and green, onions. I'm getting the dirty looks here from the crew because they weren't actually in the pub. They should have been. And over here, I've got mushroom and tomato, okay? All chopped up, ready to go. And very important, I think, for this barbecue is some eggplant. We don't use eggplant a lot. Well, you know, not for eating. You tend to throw it at politicians a bit and national parks people. But it is good in a barbecue like this. It's going to be really good. I'm just going to slice that up. Once again, the bits don't have to be too big. At the end of the day, all I'm really looking at here is getting a bit of tucker into these guys, just enough to soften the effects of the few beers we're having here. And then we're going to hit them with the big question. What is it? Nissan or Toyota? Because at the end of the day, folks, that's what this DVD is all about. And it would be really nice to resolve the question once and for all. Well, there you go. Everything's chopped up. And I've got just enough time while the hot plate heats up. It's an electric hot plate here, one of the new ones. So, you know, lots of power to have a quiet beer. And it's not a VB. In fact, we bought a couple of cartons of pure blonde this time because this whole Nissan versus Toyota thing, as far as I'm concerned, is a bit of a blonde joke. And you know why? Because like anything blonde, you've really got to get out there and get down and dirty to find out what the real thing is. That's what we're going to be doing more of tomorrow too, just quietly. Come on over to the plate and we'll get this kicked off, eh? Here we are at the electric barbecue. Now, for you people who've never used an electric barbecue, allow me to tell you that it takes at least 2 or 3 beers for the barbecue to heat up. But it doesn't matter if that happens to be 4 or 5 beers or even 6 beers, because an electric barbecue's got a thermostat, so it reaches a certain temperature and cuts itself on and off, sort of cycles like a governor on an engine. Isn't that wonderful to know if you're a beer drinker? Okay, I'll just block the hole, and then this is sesame oil. Why be boring? Sesame oil's got a lovely nutty taste, and really this whole barbecue is going to be about getting some taste into it, because I want something that we can add to rice later on. So I'll put sesame oil, lots of it, look at that, hiss bubble hiss, and then we'll hook in with the meat. We will if it'll come out of the pan. There we go. Beautiful. I'm missing the plate, I'm doing all sorts of stuff. You get that when you've got to cook a big barbecue for a lot of people, all just to settle an argument. I know a lot of you think that I'm just a Toyota man, that I like nothing else except Toyotas. And it's probably true. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. Fact is, at the end of the day, I've been pulled out of bogs by Nissans, I've been pulled out of bogs by Jeeps. I've been pulled out of bogs by all sorts of things actually over the years. And, you know, you sort of learn to respect all sorts of four-wheel drives. Particularly, I like 40 series. But I'm not real keen on the new 200 series Toyotas or even the 100s. And to be honest, if I had to choose between a 100 series Toyota and a GU Patrol, I'd go the live axle GU all day long. And that's really, I think, what the guys are talking about over here, those sort of decisions, because those are the sort of decisions that us four-wheel drivers make every few years. I'm just going to dump that on at this stage and we'll get it all sizzling, because these barbecues are fairly slow, need to get it on there, getting it turned over. I'll just give the meat one more flip over on this side. There we go. Now that's onion, green and red capsicum. Why use different colours of capsicum? For the colours, of course, because it makes it look different at the end of the day. It's that simple. Mushrooms and tomatoes, on they go. And look at that. How much food have we got on that hot plate? And finally, some eggplant. There we go. Give it a good stir. Then I'm going to go and find something to cover it with, so it'll give it a good cook. Once again, if you were cooking on gas and only doing it for your family, you wouldn't have to worry about this at all. And think about the good food that's in there. So much good food. Okay, now, we've managed to get everything sort of sizzling away here. We've got the beef, we've got the capsicum, we've got the onion, we've got the eggplant. It's all in there. We've got the mushroom, the tomato. You need to add a bit of flavour to something like this to make it special, especially when you're having it with rice. And for flavour, you beauty, oyster sauce. Lots of it. Lots and lots and lots. Oyster sauce in something like this is really going to give the veggies a whole lot of the meat flavour and the salty flavours too. And then, because there's not enough salt in that for me, look at this. Do you know what this is? You've probably had it a million times down at your local Chinese. This is black bean sauce. And really, that's about all they add, that and a few black beans, to make all those black bean meals that everybody loves. So we'll give a good old stab of that. I'm going to add just for the juices really. A little, oops, I better take the lid out. A little bit of crushed tomato, not too much, just to get the juices. And because I want to make it into a bit of a sauce, a little bit of, you guessed it, coconut cream. Not too much. And then we give it a good old stir. And here we go. Oh, blimey. Okay, now you can see that now. Starting to look like a nice gooey sort of a meal, and gooey's exactly what we want because that'll make the rice stick to it. Why rice? Hey, I ain't got any loaves and fishes and I've got a couple of hundred people to feed. You need some rice. Got the rice going over there in the rice cooker, we'll be into it in a minute. Well, there you go. How simple was that? Almost as simple as live axle four-wheel drives. Come on over, come on guys, come and be poisoned, meet the bait layer from hell. Now, before you get fed around here, before you get fed, very simple question.
Yep.
Nissan Patrol or Toyota?
Easy. It's a transporter and then Chinese.
A bike transporter, I thought so.
If I had to have a choice, it would be Nissan for sure.
The Nissan? Why's that?
Well, I've had one. Drive the pants off it, no dramas, just keep driving. They're great, they're nice and tough.
One for Nissan. One for
Toyota
Nissan.
drivers wear skirts.
Toyota drivers wear skirts. Hang on, I'll just check me 90. Come on in. What's it going to be? Oh, I'm telling you to pick up plates. You're bringing your own. What's it going to be?
Mate, it's going to have to be a Nissan Patrol. I've owned one, and I had no dramas with it at all.
No dramas
No
at all?
dramas at all.
Yeah, did you ever go anywhere in it? Or?
I did, went everywhere, mate, everywhere. I was unlocked for one stage,
Oh, okay.
and went everywhere where it did with lockers. Everyone else did with lockers, and had no dramas at all, mate.
No dramas at all?
No dramas at all.
Righto,
Mate,
here's
no
the drama. Oh, now, I know where you're going with this.
Hey,
I know. Okay, what's it going to be?
Has to be Ford Maverick, mate.
Ford Maverick. It's the second one, that one out there, isn't it? I remember the first one out at Emu
It's the
Creek.
same colour as the first one.
It's the same
It's a little
colour.
bit longer.
Yeah, it's a little bit dirtier. It's not as dirty, actually.
It's got to be Ford, mate.
Ford Maverick. Now, why is the Ford Maverick better than a Nissan Patrol?
Because the best Nissan Patrol's a Ford Maverick. And I've never broken a Ford part yet.
There you go. Can't argue with logic like that. We're not looking good here. We've got 3 Nissans in a row. Thank you, kind sir.
2 Nissans.
2 Nissans and a Maverick. Sorry. Oh boy, difficult customer.
He is.
Now, what do you reckon? Really difficult, eh? What's it going to be? Nissan?
Nissan Patrol every day.
Nissan Patrol again?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to start.
Toyota, never go back there again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What happened to the Toyota?
I had a Pajero that was better than the Toyota.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, I think the boxing gloves are going to be on soon. Is that right?
Fair dinkum.
Fair dinkum. There you go. Oh, I'm not even counting now. I've lost track. Is it going to be Nissan or Toyota?
Of course it's a Nissan.
Oh, Boyle. Oh, I thought you'd come up with something better than that, mate. Fair dinkum.
When I get old and over the hill, then I might think about buying a Toyota when I just want to cruise around. But if
Okay.
you want something tough and powerful, you buy a Nissan.
There you go. Did you hear that? If you want to get over the hill, you've got to have a Toyota. Is that what you said?
No, when you're over the hill.
All right. Well, you're lucky to get fed. I'll tell you what. Fair dinkum.
I might have grey hair, but I'm not over the hill yet.
No, that's because you've got a Patrol. Oh, well.
That's because I get on those difficult places.
I wasn't going to be biased, you know, tonight, but I'm going to have to be because this is insane. Righto, Sarah. How are you, mate?
I'm good.
Oh, you won't be in a minute. You're going to eat my cooking, but that's beside the point.
As long as I go to work tomorrow.
You tell me, what's better, Toyota or Nissan?
Nissan.
But you drive a Toyota. Oh, come
My
on.
dad will kick me out if I say Toyota.
Is that right? So it's a Nissan because the husband says so. Is that right?
I've got a well tried.
Oh, I'm not sure about this. And he's the guy with honeymoon back. He wishes. Oh, we won't go there. Now, Hodjo,
Yeah, mate.
please, mate, don't tell me Patrol because that'll just make it 100% Patrol so far.
Datsun.
I didn't say Nissan.
We've got a vote for Datsun 1200 here, guys. One of the best cars ever made. Okay, now we better hop right in Because Hodgie's got one last thing to say, and I don't know what it is. I know it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Hodgie, I don't even know why I'm feeding you here, mate. Fair dinkum. You're going to give me another crack about patrols, aren't you?
Well, I'm just going to say never drive a Toyota.
Never drive a Toyota?
Not unless it's the RAV4. That's what Sarah's got. I've got to say that. She told me to say that.
She told you to say that. Yep. See that? Another example of a patrol owner being told what to do by his wife. Thanks, mate. Oh, we're in trouble. Now, come on. What is it?
What do you expect?
I know what it's going to be, Sando. Nissan all the way from Sando. I knew it would be.
That's the question.
Is there anything else? Hey, does anyone around Coffs Harbour actually drive a Toyota? Like, you know?
I might drive or...
I'll tell you what, the Toyota PR guys definitely forgot to distribute big lumps of cash around here, didn't they? There you go. Good on you, Sando. Thanks, mate. Now, I know you work with four-wheel drives, Anthony, so I know you're going to say something good.
Well, my blood really flows green. Like, you can see it up
I
there.
can see that.
It is Land Rover, but if I had to choose between Toyota and Nissan, before I bought a GQ, I'd rather go and join them. Fuck you. Right over there.
The fuck you club.
I'd take a Toyota any day.
A Toyota?
Yep.
But only if there's no Land Rovers running?
Only if there's no Land Rovers running.
Righto.
There could be a slight chance of
A slight chance of that, yeah. Yeah, well, there is a slight chance that the Toyota will leak less oil.
Well, yeah. What a high chance.
Now, I'm not really sure if that's a confident vote or not myself, but
Toyota.
at least we have a man who knows about four-wheel drive saying that. Good on you, mate.
They're pretty reliable.
Yeah, they are. And listen, as soon as you finish fixing your Land Rover, can you come and give me a hand with my Toyota?
No worries. We'll fix those all.
Good on you, mate.
There you go, mate.
Now, I know, please say Toyota.
Toyota. You know why?
Why?
You drive one. My father drove one. I drive one. Mate, they're built tough.
A lot of
Guess what,
people.
after today, well, guess what, mate, we're there.
It almost proves it, doesn't it? It almost proves it. Good. Well, we know what Mark likes.
Okay.
Toyota or Nissan?
Sorry, it has to be a Range Rover Sport.
A Range Rover Sport. They always look good parked outside the gym, don't they?
They do. And that's exactly where my husband parks it.
Now, why did I know that?
I know. But I'd have to say a Toyota.
A Toyota?
Well, yeah, my father drives one and my brother drives one.
Yeah.
But personally, no, we've chosen a Range Rover, so, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 votes for English, 2 votes for Toyota, 3 possibly, and all the rest of patrol. Oh dear.
I'll go seconds if I can say Ford again.
Seconds if you can say Ford again. Was it that good? Was it edible?
No, it's just that there's only one for 40.
How was it? All right?
That was beautiful. The rice was really good.
The rice was really good. Oh dear. Never work with children, animals or four-wheel drivers. There's a good tip if you're thinking of starting a TV show. Thank you, kind sir.
Thanks, John.
No worries at all. Right, well, no one's dropped dead, so it's time for the crew to eat. And I'm going to go and hide in the fridge. See you later, guys. Not a lot of difference so far, eh? And we've had some tough terrain to go through. But this time we've found some mud, some real whoopee mud. And it's horrible in there. It's horrible further up the track too. In fact, it just gets worse. This is going to be interesting to see which one of the trucks handles it. But as you know, there's not a lot between them so far. And there is one thing that you guys really need to know. There's a difference in tyres here. The 80 series is running claws and the Patrol is running MTZs. We've set them both at 18 pounds all round just to equalise things a bit. Let's see if the rest of it's equal. Me, I'm going to go and get the snatch straps because I think by the end of this track we're going to need them. This is a very long wet patch and you can tell that Tomo's got the right idea because he's given it plenty of momentum right from the start. He's got the old 4.2 wrapped right up and he's on that turbo. No worries at all. You don't get a lot of say in these situations. You've got to do it on momentum. Good on you, Mark. And look, Sando's doing exactly the same thing in the Patrol. Plenty of gun, probably being Sando a little bit more flair so that he can splash Watto on the way through. But here he comes, flat out, no worries at all. Yep, once again, both trucks did it, not a problem. Well, that last lot proved nothing, did it, eh? They both went through. Dramatic, but they both went through. But that's all right, because we've got something even worse lined up. We're over here at the swamp. See what happens here. Righto, Sando, bring her on through. In he goes, nice and gently, but straight away he's on the throttle because you need a bit of momentum, and off he goes. Now look how he's picking up weed on the way through. That's to give him a bit of extra traction in that slippery bottom. Nah, just did it too easy, didn't it? You know, I think we're even going to be hard pushed to get a recovery out of these two trucks. But that's all right. Let's see how the 80 goes. Hey Mark, how you going?
Yeah mate, I'm coming in now.
Launch when ready. I gave Mark a bit of a G up here about getting stuck, and he was going to make sure he didn't. He took a different line off the start to pick up more weed, and about halfway through you can see one small difference here because he decides to use the power. There it is there, bang, on the throttle and out of the hole. Well, both the Patrol and the Cruiser survived the swamp. Too easy, really. So now we've just toughened it up again, and we've pegged out a bit of a course around the old quarry. Dead steep incline, lots of articulation, quite a bit of rocks and some slippery stuff too. Let's see what happens here. The Patrol gets right into it right from the start. Plenty of power, but look at that bounce. Look at the suspension bouncing around. Oh, lovely job, lovely job. No worries on approach and departure angles either, as we found out with this little bit of a test. Not a lot separating these trucks, is there? Softer suspension maybe. Righto, no worries, into it. Bit of a slower start and then more power on. That's getting to be a big difference between these two trucks, but look at the Cruiser slipping around there. You know what that is, don't you? That's a tyre issue. I'll tell you what, I always thought claws were pretty much top of the line, but the MTZs are proving to be a better piece of rubber up here. Coffs Harbour really does test things out, doesn't it? Rock steps, steep slope, diff bangers all the way with 35-inch tyres. Totally impassable if it's rained. This is clay country. This is unreal. Lockers all the way. Let's see if it's Patrol or Toyota here. Tomo's busted 4 CVs in his career with the Cruiser, and it's no surprise that now he's got some big strong chrome molly ones in there. I think they're the ones from Snake Racing actually, and he's got Snake Racing drop bars and control arms on this truck too. You can see why, because this sort of Coffs Harbour country dictates a whole lot of strength in your undercarriage. And that's one difference between these trucks. The 4.2's a heavier motor, the Cruiser's a heavier truck. It takes quite a bit of effort to get up these hills without breaking something, but he hasn't broken anything today. Power really is the issue here, the big difference between these two trucks. Sando's driving style makes it look a little bit easier than it is, but I can tell you something. Simon said, straight after he saw his truck go up this slope, that they were going to bung the reduction gears in the transfer next week. He's got them sitting on the bench, he reckons. This slope was certainly steep enough to demand them. Reduction gears, driving style, steep slopes. It's that evolution thing that Coffs Harbour brings out in a truck. Oh, I'd love to live here. This place is awesome.
Oh, hey, what's going on here, Tomo, mate? The Cruiser's having a nervous leak.
No, mate, no, mate. No, just settle the dust, mate. So
Yeah, of course it is, of course it is.
Choke on it, mate.
Yeah, good on you.
Well, this is it. This is the one they call impassable. It's just about impossible too, by the look of it. Steep as, from top to bottom. This is insane, this hill. And if this doesn't sort out the Patrol Cruiser thing, nothing's going to. I wish I had Milo here though. I'd love to have a crack at this. This is a real challenge. Anyway, enough of that, bring it on. This hill's about as nasty as it looks too. But the Patrol starts off no problems at all. And you can see how the soft suspension works so well over these rocky steps. Yep, there's plenty of lift, there's a bit of air too, but it doesn't bother it at all. And you know something else that this really proves? That's the strength of those limited slip diffs in the rear of those Nissans. Wow.
Oh! All right.
Who needs a rear locker?
I bet you didn't think your truck could do that.
No, mate, it wouldn't with me driving, that's for sure.
Mate, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Big difference here is going to be the tougher suspension, the harder suspension, because in rocky country like this, you really want soft. These rocky steps are going to kick it. There it goes. They're kicking it up in the air because the suspension's just that little bit stiffer. When it's in the air, you've got no traction. We all know that. Lockers at both ends make up the difference, though. The Cruiser's done it, and has done it quite easily too. A little bit of smoke there, but you expect that. That's why we modify our trucks, isn't it? To go up hills like this.
Oh, beautiful effort, Tomo. That was awesome, mate. Good on you.
Mate, I'm wrapped. That was unreal. I'm dead set, mate. The heart rate's about 350 out of 8, whatever. I'm stoked. I'm just wrapped.
Oh, good on you, mate. I'm not surprised. You're bloody aerial half the way. You've been there. You've seen it for yourselves. We've tried every trick in the book. We've tried every sort of terrain. And what happened? Nothing. Both trucks pulled through really well. Patrol, Toyota, no problems at all. So there's only one way to sort this out, and that is a tug-of-war. Toyota! Nissan! That's right, guys, because at the end of the day, when you got trucks like this, it's not about the trucks at all. It's about the drivers. Righto, take the strain. Heave! 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 Didn't prove a thing, did it? Other than fat guys can win tug-of-wars. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's not about what you drive. That's what we proved here. It's about how you drive it and where you drive it. And as four-wheel drivers, we've got the whole of this wonderful country to drive. So don't worry about what your truck's called. Just get in it, grab your mates and go out wheeling.
Australia really is the greatest place on earth. And I reckon the Outback is the heart and soul of our country. There's nothing I love better than getting in Milo and driving off into the vast peace and quiet that you only get when you're right out in the bush. And the best thing is, it's just down the end of your street too. So come on, this is where you'll feel the true heartbeat of Australia. Come out here and have a look.